George Joseph. I'm reporting for the ACLU, and I'm with restaurant owner Elizabeth Villafranca in the Texas city of Farmers Branch. Could you tell us your story, please?
Yes, my husband and I, my family, we live and work in the city of Farmers Branch, Texas. And several months ago, we had a customer come to our restaurant and indicate that she had been unhappy with her meal the evening before and that she wanted her money back. And we have two businesses in the same shopping center, so as I walked over to the business where she claimed that she had not enjoyed her meal, I casually just mentioned to her in conversation that a lot of people are not really familiar with Mexican food, and that sometimes people are so accustomed to eating Tex-Mex food that when they eat real Mexican food, they're not happy with what they get. And so she kind of angrily just said, "Well, this is Texas, isn't it?" And I said, "Yes, but the food is not Tex-Mex, it's really Mexican." At which point she turned around and she basically said, she turned around and looked at me and said, "You're a wetback. You're a fucking wetback." She must have seen the look of shock, just of utter disbelief in my face, and so she continued to say it. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. For one moment, I thought the woman was going to hit me. I've only been in one fight in the 4th grade with Lizzie Amazola, so you can imagine. And it didn't go well for me, so you can imagine how, I was really scared that she was going to physically hurt me. And she continued to call me a wetback, which I was just dumbfounded. I didn't know what to say. And finally I said, "You're being really rude and you're being really disrespectful, and I'm not going to give you your money back." She continued to, say her verbal expletives, and she left. I didn't know what to do, so I did call the police. Even though she didn't really threaten me, she didn't physically harm me, but I felt threatened by her because I felt like if she was crazy enough to do that, what else could she be capable of? Was she going to come and break our window? Is she going to come and are we going to have another Gifford situation like Arizona? I didn't know what to think of her. The police did come, and when they did find her, they indicated that when the police approached her, they said, "I know why you're here. It's not illegal to call somebody a wetback." And the whole week, it really, really bothered me a lot. Not so much because she called me a wetback. I'm American. I was born and raised in the United States of America. I'm as American as apple pie. And I couldn't really figure out why it bothered me so much. And as the week went on, I understood why she had really gotten under my skin. And it was because she didn't really call me a wetback. She called all of us a wetback. And the fact that somebody would feel like they have the license to call somebody that is just beyond belief. I think some of the ordinances, these ordinances that they've passed that are anti-immigrant, have really given license for some of these people to come out and think that they can just say whatever they want.
So 7 years ago when you first opened the successful restaurant, did you feel any of that outsider status, that pressure that this woman inflicted upon you?
We had no idea that this was coming. In fact, when we opened our restaurant here, we loved the city of Farmers Branch. My daughter was baptized here 12 years ago, and we always felt like it was sort of like a Mayberry. It felt like Mayberry, like a small town, and we really liked it. We had no idea what was sort of, kind of buried under the leaves.
In light of the recent Supreme Court decision to uphold the Show Me Your Papers part of SB's 1070, the law in Arizona, the other laws in Alabama, and even pending laws in states like Ohio, can you make a connection to those laws or similar laws as the ones passed in Farmers Branch in 2006 and how they've affected your community and the way you feel living here?
Absolutely. If you look at all of those small ordinances that were passed, they were all passed in small, sleepy towns that were pretty, well-to-do towns. I think we had a $12 million surplus at one point. We've spent $5 million on these lawsuits, and so have these other cities. The other thing that kind of ties them together is there's an attorney by the name of Chris Kobach who worked at one point for FAIR. And FAIR they've actually been named a hate organization by the Southern Poverty Law Center. So you can imagine, he seems to be the author or behind many, if not all, of the ordinances that have been introduced.
And so those ordinances, do they also seem to strike that chord with you to get under your skin for the same reasons that woman's comment did?
Well, I believe that it gives, if you keep saying these things over and over again, people sometimes, I think they're well-meaning people, I think they get confused and they start to think that everybody who is Hispanic must automatically be, an illegal alien, as they like to refer to us. And that's just not the case, And so I think that we have to be really careful in passing these ordinances. I think, we would have better results by pressuring the federal government, which is where immigration lays. We need to pressure them into giving us the reform that we so badly need.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So,
All right, and she said to do it one more time, if you don't mind. That's.
Is this crooked? Is this going to matter that it's crooked? I just noticed that.
We can do this if you want.
Not to make you crazy.
I don't think it'll be a big deal. Let's see.
Yeah, now that I'm looking at you, it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, now that I'm looking at you,
oh, here
I
we
just
can.
keep trying to get
yeah,
that.
we can
I
show
just
her.
keep trying to get that out.
Okay.
Now she's going to want you to do it 2 more times with that angle.
I think it'll be fine. So click when you're ready.
Oh, it's still.